Can you be arrested for returning items that you've already used? What most people call wardrobing or free renting, the law calls return fraud.
Can you go to jail for returning products that you bought on the internet? Well, in 2025, there is a possibility that yes, you could go to jail for returning too many items that you purchased off the internet for some very specific reasons. We're going to jump into some video clips of this today. We're going to see a couple of these return fraud cases, and later on in this video, we're going to find out what could cause you to actually go to jail for buying items on the internet off places like Amazon and eBay and other places, and going to jail for your behavior. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, let's jump into the first video and check out what I'm talking about. All right, in this first video, we're gonna see what actually happens when people ship back fraudulent returns to stores or return items, even right in person at the customer service desk, with the wrong item or just plain fraudulent item inside of the return box. Check out this craziness.
We thought we caught somebody yesterday, but look at this. They just returned it. A brick, bro. They returned a brick for $600.
So looks to be a saw that is coming back to Home Depot. We can see the orange signage there, and they clearly did not check what was in the box when it got returned. So what somebody does is they go buy this $600 saw, they bring it back, or they usually take it to a different store if they're trying to be slick about it, and they put a brick in it to give it weight, and they sometimes will even tape it up. They'll go back and get their $600 back, and then they've got the free saw sitting at home. So they ripped off Home Depot for $600. Now this happens in store in person, but it also happens on the internet through Amazon and direct Shopify and other stores that do e-commerce sales. Check out this lady and her husband's business because it's the same story, but just through the mail.
Let's talk return fraud on Amazon. So my husband has a shop on Amazon, OhmZone, and this is an example of a product that he sells, selenite bowl. So when we pay to have the stuff returned to us, I'm expecting to see something like this, a broken bowl. But when we start getting stuff like this in, and this, or a block of wood, or a bag of dirt, I mean, the people that are doing this, it's ridiculous. I don't know if they think that Amazon is getting screwed, but no. Small businesses like me and like my husband, who are online retailers, when we get stuff like that, it's like people don't realize how much money is being wasted in advertising, and especially like on Amazon. Any seller on Amazon on average makes 15 to 25% of the cost. So I mean, like the price that you see. So if it's $10 in for a product, the seller is only making $1.50 to $2.50 per item. So unless, you know, there's certain products that obviously there's a huge markup on, but on average, that's what you can expect.
So what she's getting at there is that most Amazon sellers, if you return an item and they have to eat the shipping back and the fees and expenses, especially if you send them the wrong item and they're out the item and the money, it's more than the profit they typically made on that sale. So if somebody's selling a $40 item on Amazon and only making a 20% clear, then they're only making $8. And if you got to pay $6 or $8 just in the return shipping, and then there's the expense and the fees and the unpackaging, restock, there's a lot that goes into this. They could actually be negative just on one return. And I've actually heard some businesses are negative ×3, meaning every 3 products that they sell, it takes at least 3 sales to offset 1 return. So just something to think about when you buy a t-shirt of like small, medium, large, because you don't know what size it's gonna be, and then you just return 2, you are hurting a small business, especially if it says not, you know, not sold by Amazon. It'll say who it's sold by.
So it's really disappointing that there really isn't a recourse on Amazon for sellers to be able to question the the refunds. I mean, we still get like the piece of paper that the person used for the refund inside the box. So I mean, there's some sort of evidence that we can use to prove that this is what the person sent back. So it's like, I don't like it. So if you're doing return fraud, I just want you to be aware that you're not screwing over the big corporations like, Etsy or Amazon or eBay. You're really screwing over the sellers who are in essence a small business. So just want to let you know, it's not cool. I don't like it. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, she's right. A lot of people don't even realize this. I put out a video not that long ago, a few months ago, about a lady who was talking about her $15,000 in refund fraud. And people were just like, the comment section, I had 23 million views on Instagram, was nuts. People were like, oh, well, too bad, blah, blah, blah. It was scary and it was disappointing and it was just upsetting to see that nobody cared about this return fraud or that small businesses were being hurt. But some companies, including Amazon, are starting to take action. Let's take a look at what they are starting to do to put an end to this, or at least help put an end to this. And then we'll take a look at whether or not you can go to jail for doing what some of these people are already doing and what some of you may actually already be doing.
Some major retailers are changing their return policies to crack down on possible fraud. Outdoor retailer REI confirming to ABC News that a small fraction of frequent returners will be banned from any exchanges or returns, saying members in this group had an average return rate of 79% and returned $2,400 worth of gear in the past year, with $1,400 of that product being used. While these members are still welcome to shop with us, they will no longer be welcome to make returns or exchanges. Now, Target just announced a new right to refuse refunds and exchanges policy if they suspect fraud. Plus, earlier this year, Amazon tacking on a processing fee to items that have a high return rate. So changes there.
But Becky, if this is something that's going to affect those who are honest consumers, especially those who are buying gifts that frequently get returned.
Right. From my reporting, this is not intended to impact your standard consumers. It's really about fraudulent repeat offenders that cost all of us in the long run, because that cost is passed down to us. The National Retail Federation estimating retailers lost more than $100 billion to the practice in 2023, adding that more than 13% of returns were bogus.
That's insane. $100 billion was lost in return fraud or fraudulent bogus returns, with 13% of every return being bogus. And if 13% was reported as bogus and fraud, you can bet the number is actually higher, because that's all they caught. Probably, I don't know, at least 15, 17, maybe it's closer to 20%. And also, they're right. REI saying that people were returning 79% of the items they bought. That means they bought 10 items and only kept 2 of them, maybe 3 of them. That's absolutely unacceptable. And the total came to $2,400 a year on average for those repeat offenders and returners. That's $200 a month. Most people don't even buy $200 a month from one store every single month, much less buying it and returning it. That's just people wasting time. I actually saw a study where there are people who are addicted so much to shopping that they will buy something just to get the high, the dopamine fix of getting the item, and it ships to them, and then they just get it and go, well, I can't actually afford this, and they just return it. But they just like that experience and that to do. They're like mentally unwell. So that's crazy. We have to deal with this as online sellers. It's unbelievable.
Like returned items that were used but not defective. That's a practice called wardrobing when they've been used, or when shoplifted merchandise is returned with fake receipts, or even high-dollar items that are returned with knockoff copies worth pennies on the dollar. Now, it might inadvertently affect a very small number of consumers, so it is good for all of us to be aware of the return policy whenever you shop, especially during the holiday season.
Yeah, unbelievable. So they talk about all the different things, people returning fake goods, buying a real pair of Louis Vuitton sunglasses and returning cheap knockoffs from the flea market, fakes that you paid $5 for, swapping them for a real pair that's $500. All this stuff happens, and if they got to clamp down on the return policies to put an end to this, or at least slow it way down, and it affects a few people who just can't return legitimate products, then so be it. I am all for it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section if you would agree with that, like tighter return policies so that other things get stopped. This fraud gets slowed down. It hurts all of us. $100 billion a year is absolutely nutty. It's insane and it's unacceptable. As always, guys, make sure you do like this video and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. And let's move on and get closer to finding out if you could go to jail and what it would take to go to jail for some of these practices. So before we find out about going to jail, the Amazon CEO, the actual CEO of Amazon, it is not Jeff Bezos anymore, it's Andy Jassy. He is going to tell you what Amazon is doing to try and put a stop to this. So pay attention, beware.
So people are buying stuff on Amazon, oftentimes from third parties, and then they return it, but they don't return the actual product. So it would be, I'd buy these sneakers, and then I'd return a fake version of the sneakers back, and they're grappling with that. Is that something? How do you deal with that?
Well, at our scale, you find you get some of everything,
Right.
and we've seen that in the past. But we have a pretty substantial team that works on making sure that returns are appropriate, that we keep counterfeit really low, and so you change a little bit of some of your policies on returns, on when you actually refund people, and you try to make sure you got the right product before you actually authorize the refund.
Okay, so he's very vague about it, but he says we changed the timing. So they used to refund you. I remember buying stuff on Amazon. I never returned anything, but I did return one thing one time, and they refunded me almost instantly, like as soon as I processed that. Now they're not refunding. They changed that years ago to having to go through the inspection process. It has to arrive back at the Amazon warehouse. They have to inspect it, make sure it's good. So he does admit, though, at the beginning of the video, at our scale, meaning they do so much business that it's impossible for them to inspect every single item. And a lot of people know this and they take advantage of it. Unfortunately, that's how we end up at $100 billion in return fraud. Let's find out. Let's go to it. Next clip. How can you go to jail? What would happen? What would have to happen for you to end up in jail or get really serious consequences for committing return fraud? Check it out.
Can you be arrested for returning items that you've already used? What most people call wardrobing or free renting, the law calls return fraud. Obtaining merchandise without intent to keep it. Major retailers now track return patterns and build cases against repeat returners. They're not just banning people, they are pressing criminal charges that can result in jail time and a conviction. The evidence against you could be incredibly strong. Store cameras show you buying the item, security tags show whether it was worn, and your return history creates a pattern. What you thought was just gaming the system is actually creating a perfect paper trail for the prosecutor.
So there you go. So he just told you the three things. They're tracking you in stores if you're doing it on stores. And if you're doing it online, they're going to track your ordering. They're going to track whether the items were used, not used, tags returned, and they're going to track your history and habits, your behavior. And also, like he just said, the prosecutor's case is intent, right? It has to be intent. Did you intend to keep what you bought? If you buy 3 pairs of pants, size medium, large, extra large, and you don't know which one you're going to keep, you don't know if you're going to keep the large or the extra large, it means you knew that you were not going to keep 2 of them. Your intent was to only keep 1. So you purposely bought 3 items knowing you were not going to keep 2 of them, and thus knowing you were going to fraudulently return the other 2. You can explain it any way you want, but that's what it is. When you purchase something, you are supposed to purchase one size, your size that you do. And I know people are going to say, oh my God, I can't buy items and clothing on the internet without knowing, I can't try it on. I can't test it out. I don't know. Some stuff fits differently. Different brands, different sizes, different wears, styles, all different, okay? Then go shop in the store. If you can't buy something on the internet without buying 3 of them or 6 of them or different colors or different styles because you want to see what it looks like, you should not be shopping on the internet. I don't care. I don't care about you. I'm an online seller and I'm going to feel this way because I've been affected by these return fraud problems. If you're going to buy 3 of a t-shirt, of a shirt in 3 colors, blue, orange, and green, because you want to see which one looks best with your pants for later, too bad. Buy one and figure it out, or go to the store and try them on at the store. You can't be doing what you're doing, and the stores have allowed this for so long that I really, truly hope they crack down on this. Unfortunately, I just don't think they have the manpower, the money, or the ability. Now, they have the money. Are they going to spend the money is the question. Or the manpower to do this. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Do you agree with what I'm saying here? Do you think they should put a stop to this? They should be stricter on it? Do you think people should start going to jail like this guy said? The prosecutors could build a case. What would it actually take, to do that? He mentions all of the factors, but how many times? That's what nobody can say because the stores aren't going to tell you. They probably don't even have a set number. It's just when they see something, they're going to use their best judgment of whether this person is just a frequent returner or whether this person is actually criminal level. But he tells you right there what they're tracking and how you can end up getting in trouble to the point of actually going to jail for committing return fraud. It is fraud. Whether you like it or not, it is a crime. So that is kind of my thought process and my opinions on the return fraud problem we have here in America with online shopping. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, that belongs to all of you. Let me know if you have a story about return fraud. Maybe you've been experienced it as a worker at a store or online as a seller or working at an online store. Maybe you knew somebody who was doing it. You can leave me that story anonymously down in the comments section. Or maybe you've heard about it or you've worked at UPS or FedEx or USPS and you've seen it. I used to go to the UPS store in a certain neighborhood not far from me, and literally they would let people just bring in the item with no packaging. And this lady would bring in, I used to go there every day. She'd bring in day after day after day, package after package after package of just returns. And it was all Amazon. They were packing them for Amazon and scanning it, and this lady was returning hundreds of items a week. I promise you, she was bringing in 10 and 15 items a day at least, if not more. I saw her bring in a whole tub of items one day to Amazon, and it all looked like workout gear, like she was an influencer and she was always in her workout gear, like she was buying this stuff to use it for a video and then sending it back. It was disgusting. I didn't say anything. I took some pictures after she had walked out one time of all the stuff she had. So it was crazy just to see how much she was giving back. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. I appreciate you watching. If you could, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. Come back and watch future videos all about online selling, retail scams, fraud, schemes, and crazy stories, financial stories, everything about 2025 here in the United States. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time.